Welcome to the Masterclass Series, Anticipatory, Cyber, and Digital Diplomacy 2.0. Date 03-04 August 2026. 4 African diplomats. Courtesy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria. Speech by Mr. Mohammed Bello Kusharki, Chief Program Analyst and ICT Lead, National Defense College, NDC, Abuja, Nigeria. From digital insights to diplomatic decisions, supporting leadership under pressure. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved. Subscribe to build Africa's cyber and diplomatic resilience. YouTube at Anticipatory Cyber Digital Diplo.
To diplomatic decisions, supporting leadership under pressure. And it will be presented by Mr. Mohammed Bello Kusharki, the Chief Program Analyst at ICT, National Defense College. So if you're in the hall, please let's put our hands together as we invite him to the rostrum for his presentation. Can we keep clapping, please?
Good morning once again. Yeah. I recognize the chair and the dignitaries, excellencies, this morning. I thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for this opportunity. Actually, we had to have I'm a participant and also a presenter. Yeah. So this morning we have 15 minutes to go from AI insights to diplomatic decision, supporting leadership under pressure. This topic is couched towards the exercise of how today, and permit me to ride through this topic with you together. Engineer Frank have done a lot in recapping what we had yesterday. Yesterday was an awesome day. We learned a lot. We had a lot of discussion around AI and cybersecurity. As someone that has been in AI field and cybersecurity for about 3 to 4 years, got see people like Jojola. It was a very packed day for me yesterday. So my task in the next 15 minutes or thereabout is narrower than it should be. It is to take you from concepts you now hold on Ministry of Foreign Affairs AI unit to the operational practice of being one. When the president requires answers in 4 hours, I think that's one of the exercises we're looking at. How does yesterday's concept reach its text as usable advice? That translation from insight to advice is subject of this brief. You know, a lot of people think AI is about fast and all that, but by the time you go through this, you understand that it's all about fast, about data and fact. Yesterday, Jamal Dean Said from Ghana CyberSecurity took us through the connection between, permit me to use, I don't know if my voice is coming because of the teacher's voice. Yes. Thank you so much, yeah. I'll be loud enough, yeah. If you can't hear me, just say so that, because the mic was distorted. So yesterday, Dr. Jamal Dean Saidu took us through a connected national security capability to anticipatory cyber and digital diplomacy. It was a great concept for me because just a few months ago I was in Ghana and I had interaction with the Minister of Education of that country. And AI and cybersecurity has become the curriculum of that country right from Ghana. I resonate with what you were saying. I want to extend that connection one step further into the 5 words that will govern your conduct exercise that we're about to go in. One, data, information, intelligence, analysis, and diplomatic advice. What is data? We keep hearing data, data, data. A lot of people say data is oil. People are trying to have access to data. I remember when I had a conversation with a professor in Japan, he was so excited hearing that from Nigeria because of the 200 million people that we have and the amount of data that can be generated from Africa. So data is raw material. A spike in the network traffic is data. For foreign affairs ministries, a foreign ministry statement is data. A satellite image is data. A social media trend is also data. But data alone cannot tell the story. It is nothing. It's just a noise until you give it a shape. Information, on the other hand, is data collected in context. It answers one question: what happened? A confirmed cyber attack on a government server is an information. Then intelligence. Intelligence answers a harder question: what does this mean and for whom? So we are going deeper from data to information and then to intelligence. Intelligence weighs information against intent, capability, and pattern. An isolated incident or part of a larger design. Then my favorite, analysis. Because when you have data, you have information, you mold into information by giving it a context. You move into intelligence by defining those, asking those harder questions. The next is to analyze. So analysis connects intelligence to consequence. It defines our options and what follows from each. So you can see, without analysis, all those first three steps are nothing. Then the bigger one for us, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, diplomatic advice. This is a final distillation, a short, clear recommendation to the minister or the presidency can act on within the time available at the confidence level the situation demands. So you can see we move from acquiring the data to moving to making it have a meaning, to using intelligence to ask the right question, analyzing the result of those questions, and then converting it into our own world, diplomatic world. The costliest error in a crisis is skipping any step. You can't just skip any of these steps. You have to follow it. And how does it happen in for instance, in us in foreign affairs? Handing the minister raw data and calling it advice. You know, you have a data, you didn't go through all these steps, you just throw it to the minister. That is an error. The task of the AI unit is to move every piece of information up that ladder deliberately before it reaches leadership. Because when Engineer Frank was doing the recap, the key thing there is leadership. How can the MFA AI unit help the leadership of MFA and also Nigeria as a whole? So now AI function sits earlier in that ladder. The ladder of awareness, the ladder of analysis, and the rest. It accelerates the movement from data to information, from information to intelligence. It scans more material than any team of officers because it's actually fast. Billions of data you can use with AI. With human, it takes a lot of time. That's why research these days is a bit faster than it were some years ago. Identify patterns across languages and sources, and flag priorities faster than manual review. AI does not sit at the top of the ladder. It does not analyze consequences. I stress this. It doesn't analyze consequences. It does not deliver diplomatic advice. Those remain human responsibility without exception. So, like yesterday when someone is saying the coming of AI will make people not to be thinking or innovative, you can see that AI just guides you. It cannot replace that the human aspect of your diplomacy, the human aspect of analyzing the consequences. In a crisis, the temptation is to treat a fast, confident output as a finished judgment. It is not. That is the wrong way to go. It is a faster starting point for human judgment, nothing more. It just guides you to analyze things. Like he was saying about the Minister
sister's birthday, you need design and all that. Yes, AI can help you put that design, but you can't just get the design and say you are throwing it out to the public. You have to now look at it and see, is there error? Because like we all know,
AI hallucinates a lot. So what are the deciding when do you decide when an information is incomplete, contested, or changing? A life crisis rarely offers complete or agreed facts before decision is due. Two credible sources will sometimes contradict each other. Very, very true. The correct response is not to wait for resolution. It is to advise with both positions stated and the confidence behind each made explicit. What this means is that you have two information that contradict each other. It's not your place as an AI officer to just say you are taking decision what to discard and what to do. A structured process does not treat its first brief as final. It builds in deliberate points of reassessment as the picture changes and revises judgment without hesitation when the facts require it. When a decision must be made despite incomplete information, the sound default is the option that remains reversible or adjustable over the option that commits fastest and furthest. A structured process does not wait for certainty. It states its confidence honestly and stays ready to revise. So when transmitting this information, you have to state it as it is. One of my professor and Professor Sunday, he always says something, allow the data to speak. Don't speak for the data. So the way you collect the data, just pass it through across the data and the ladder. So what are the noise in the data that we have? In a fast-moving crisis, the problem is really shortage of information. You all agree with me that the reverse is the case. We have information everywhere, both social media, a lot of information out there. Some may be true, some may be false. Some deliberately planted to mislead. Mostly our social media these days. You read an information. What I always tell people is that just take a backseat, don't comment. Watch over 2, 3, 4 days and see what comes out of it. You find out that it's just planted to mislead you and most irrelevant to the decision in front of you. This exercise we're about to go in will not test whether you can find information. You will have far more than you need. It will test whether you can identify the 2 or 3 signals that change the decision and set the rest aside without pretending it does not exist. So you can see that as an AI unit, even though you have the data, you have the tools, your intellectual capabilities, your expertise as a diplomat matters a lot in determining the outcome you are going to bring out. You have to apply 3 questions to every piece of information that relates to you, that reaches you. The question are these. Number 1, does this change what we recommend? You have to ask that question. Is the source credible enough to act on? Is this urgent, or does it merely feel urgent? These 3 questions are very important. Anything short of these 3 does not, you have not entered anything to move a brief upward. You have to answer this question confidently within you before you move it up the ladder. Filtering is not concealment. What it means is that this question you're asking is helping you to filter the kind of information that comes to your desk. But you are not, when you filter them, does not mean that you are concealing something. But rather you are helping the leadership to focus on the key items, key information that the leadership need. A minister doesn't have the time to sift through plenty of information you are dropping. He or she wants to take a decision. You understand? The presidency is the same thing. So you have to filter that by asking those questions. So what's the workflow that we need to use to actually achieve this? Everything stated so far converges on one workflow. Carry these 6 words into the exercise. 6 of them. Assess, analyze, advise, escalate, decide, and the ultimate, communicate. Assess is the first, which means fast one. What do we know right now? You have to ask yourself that question. And how confident are we in it? These steps separate confirmed facts from unverified reports. It's key we start with this. And the next is for you to analyze. Analyze takes that assessment and determine what it means and what our options are. This is where the AI unit perform structured reasoning, weighing implication, not merely relaying to fact. And you agree with me, this thing comes with experience and with the knowledge of the field that you are applying this to. Then the next is advice. Advice converts your analysis into recommendation. Short, clear, and bounded. Not in quote, here is everything we found. Rather, in quote, here are 2 or 3 courses of action, and here is our confidence behind each. So what it means is that you push to the leader all the possible options that you find from your analysis, and then lead the leader to a particular one that you feel confident that will bring the outcome. Escalate means recognizing when a decision exceeds your authority and moving it upward without delay. In a crisis, hesitation to escalate often more dangerous than the crisis itself. So don't just keep it. It's something that you cannot handle. So you have to escalate it. Because when you keep it, like we agreed here yesterday, the world is going cyber. The war between America and Iran, the war between Russia and the Ukraine, it's all cyber war. You understand? So if you refuse to escalate something that is on your table, you are creating crisis. Next is decide. Decide belongs to the minister and presidency. Just know this as an AI unit, as an AI officer. You are not in position to decide. You are in position to analyze and bring the consequences. But to decide which course of action to be taken is for the minister and probably the presidency, not the AI unit and not any system. The role of the unit is to prepare the ground for that decision and not to make it on their behalf. Then communicate. Communicate is the final and most neglected step. Ensuring the decision, because when the leader, the minister, the presidency take that decision, once made, it has to reach the officer required to carry it out. Because if it's not communicated, whatever the decision, it will just end there. It has to be domesticated and with international partners in our case, before rumor or adversary narrative occupies that space instead. This sequence begins with machines. We begin with AI tools. We began with AI tools. We analyze with AI tools, but it ends with an officer working together to establish clarity. The entire, it ends entirely in human hand, deciding, communicating, deciding it deliberately. So even though the AI tools, the machine and all that, I tell a lot of people that use AI tools with a lot of sense. You know, we were discussing yesterday with some colleagues during the session, and when Mr. Abdullah mentioned Gmail, Gmail to send official document, someone like, we do that a lot. I say, yes, that's why you have official mail. Even though some official mail are also prone to those things, because the data from those official mail is lying somewhere. So all these analysis, assess, analyze, advise, escalate, decide, and communicate are all the steps that walk us through how to apply AI. So in conclusion, in about 10 minutes or thereabout, as you enter this Operation Silent Storm, like we call it, hold one principle above the rest. AI strengthens diplomatic judgment by enabling faster, better, informed, and more confident decisions. Human judgment remains central to leadership under pressure. Because no matter how fast the president wants an answer in 4 hours, if you are trying to be fast, just remember that human judgment is key. Because when you eliminate that, you are allowing the AI to take decision and to decide for you. In that room, you will be flooded with information, contradictory, at times false, arriving faster than is comfortable. Your task is not to process all of it. It is to move it deliberately up the ladder. From data to information to intelligence to analysis to advice. Through assess, analyze, advise, escalate, decide, and communicate. The president wants answers in 4 hours. Your duty as the ministry's AI unit is to ensure those answers are honest, timely, and genuinely useful, not merely fast.
Thank you for listening, and I hope I can.
Hosted by Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria. Facilitated by Consultancy Support Services, CS2, Limited. info@consultancys.com. Copyright at 2026. All rights reserved. Subscribe to build Africa's cyber and diplomatic resilience. YouTube at Anticipatory Cyber Digital Diplo.